These words are more than a phrase. They are a vow etched into the core of my being. They are not conditional, not dependent on how I feel today or what challenges I face tomorrow. They are final. They are unshakable. They are who I am. When I say I will not quit, I am not expressing hope. I am declaring war against every obstacle, against every fear, against every excuse that tries to talk me out of who I was born to become. The world may push, life may bruise, circumstances may shift beneath my feet, but the decision has already been made. I will not quit. Quitting is easy. It's what most people do when it gets too hard, when the path gets too steep, when the night gets too long. But I was not made for easy. I was not made to run at the sight of resistance. I was made to rise. I was made to endure. I was made to finish. There is no power in starting something with excitement if you lack the strength to finish it when the excitement fades. And it always fades. The passion will dim, the applause will stop, the novelty will wear off, but that's when the real voice speaks, the one inside that says, keep going, and not because it's fun, not because it's easy, but because you already made a decision, and now it's time to honor it. I will not quit, not because I haven't been tempted. I've felt the weight of weariness. I've heard the whispers of doubt telling me it's not worth it. But every time those voices rise up, I rise up louder. I speak back with fire in my chest and steel in my spine. I speak with the language of those who finish what they start. I will not quit. When you burn the bridges behind you and take quitting off the table, something shifts inside. Your focus sharpens, your discipline tightens, your soul digs deeper. It's no longer a matter of if. It becomes when, not because it's guaranteed, but because you're too committed to stop. You've crossed the line where giving up is no longer an option, and that's where power begins. That's where growth lives. That's where the extraordinary takes root. Let others walk away. Let others give up when it gets hard. Let others fold under pressure, but not me. I don't quit when I'm tired. I quit when I'm done. I don't stop when it hurts. I stop when the goal is conquered. I don't listen to the fear. I listen to the fire that says, you've come too far to quit now. Every time I say I will not quit, I am building something inside myself that cannot be taken away. It's not about success for the world to see. It's about the integrity I have with myself. The promise I made to never give up is sacred. It's personal. It's unbreakable. And every day I rise with that promise burning in my heart. I get closer. Closer to the version of me I was always meant to be. So let the storms come. Let the road stretch further. Let the challenges rise higher. I do not shrink. I do not run. I do not surrender. I stand. I fight. I press forward because I decided a long time ago, before the pain, before the struggle, before the delays, I will not quit. There is a power inside of me that cannot be measured by what's seen on the outside. It is not defined by my surroundings, not dictated by my circumstances, and not limited by the opinions of others. The strength I carry isn't found in comfort or convenience. It is forged in struggle. And the truth is, most people search for strength in all the wrong places. They look for validation from others, for the right timing, for ideal conditions. But none of those things can give you what you already possess inside. Strength is not something you find. It is something you uncover, and the deeper you dig into yourself, the more you realize it has always been there, waiting to be awakened. The battles I face are not designed to break me. They are designed to reveal me. Every pressure I feel, every challenge I endure, is chiseling away at the weakness I no longer need. I don't need to feel strong to be strong. My emotions are not the measure of my power. Even when I feel empty, tired, and overwhelmed, I know this truth: there is more in me. There is always more in me, because the source of my strength is not temporary. It is rooted in identity, not energy. It's built on a decision, not emotion. When I say I will not quit, I am not saying that I will always feel bold, brave, or capable. I am saying that no matter how I feel, I will keep going. I will keep believing. I will keep moving. The power within is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to be ruled by it. It is not the absence of difficulty. It is the refusal to be defeated by it. My power lives in perseverance, in grit, in the relentless choice to keep standing when everything says sit down. That's what separates those who overcome from those who are overcome. Not talent, not resources, but the inner power to persist. And I've made the decision. I will persist. I will not quit, because everything I need is already inside of me. The greatest battles I will ever fight are not against people, not against situations, and not against the world outside. The real war is within. It's the war between the version of me that wants to rise and the version that wants to run. It's the war between belief and doubt, between commitment and convenience, between discipline and distraction. Every day, I wake up to that battle, and every day, I choose to fight it. Because I've learned that if I don't conquer what's inside me, it doesn't matter what I conquer outside of me. The enemy is not always out there. It's often the quiet voice that says, maybe this is too much, or maybe you're not enough. But I don't listen to that voice anymore. I challenge it. I confront it. I silence it with truth. That voice of fear has a job: to protect me, to keep me from risk, to make me feel safe. But growth doesn't live in safety. Purpose doesn't breathe in comfort. I wasn't made to be kept. I was made to be tested. And so I've chosen to stop fearing the fight and start welcoming it. Not because I enjoy pain, but because I understand its purpose. The fight sharpens me. The fight humbles me. The fight forces me to become who I must become in order to carry the weight of the future I'm called to build. Without resistance, there's no strength. Without struggle, there's no growth. So I don't avoid the battle. I embrace it. This is not a fight for survival. This is a fight for identity. It's a fight for who I will become. And every time I choose discipline over comfort, truth over lies, persistence over quitting, I win. Maybe not in the eyes of others, maybe not with instant results, but in the most important arena of all, the arena of the soul. I win because I stood when I wanted to fall. I rose when everything inside said lay down. That is the definition of power. That is the mark of someone who will not be denied. The fight is daily. The fight is personal. But as long as I breathe, I will keep swinging. I will not quit. There is a price for everything in life, and quitting is no exception. Most people think quitting is the easier path, the safer route, the escape from pain. But what they fail to see is that quitting has a cost, a hidden cost far greater than the pain of pressing on. When you quit, you don't just walk away from the challenge. You walk away from the growth, from the strength, from the breakthrough that was just on the other side of your endurance. You trade long-term purpose for short-term relief. And that is a transaction that will always leave you empty. Quitting leaves behind regrets that echo louder than failure ever could. Failure can teach, failure can strengthen, but quitting leaves you wondering what might have been. It whispers you are close, but close never becomes completion. It leaves you with unfinished dreams and buried potential, and those things do not go quietly. They haunt the mind. They follow you in the silence. They ask you questions when no one else is watching. What if you had just kept going? What if one more step was all you needed? What if today was the turning point and you walked away too soon? People often fear the pain of the journey, but few truly grasp the weight of never knowing what they could have become. The dream doesn't die because it was impossible. It dies because it was abandoned. It dies because someone believed the lie that giving up was mercy. But quitting doesn't bring peace, it brings a wound that stays open. It brings a story you can't finish. And the truth is, it's not the struggle that destroys people. It's the surrender. The moment they stop believing, stop trying, stop fighting, that's the moment something inside begins to decay. So I've made a decision. I will pay the price of pain. I will pay the price of persistence. But I will never pay the price of quitting because it costs too much. It costs who I could become. It costs the impact I was born to make. It costs the future that is waiting for me, and I refuse to walk away from that. I refuse to carry the weight of regret. I would rather suffer in progress than surrender to comfort. I will not quit. Pain is not the enemy. It is not a punishment or a sign that I've failed. Pain is a teacher. It's a signal that I am in the process of becoming more than I was. It strips away the surface, the ego, the illusion of ease. It takes me down to the foundation, and there it begins to build something deeper. Strength doesn't grow in comfort. Growth doesn't happen when everything is going my way. It happens when I keep moving forward in spite of the hurt, when I refuse to back down even though everything in me says stop. That is where the transformation begins, not around the pain, but through it. Most people want the reward without the refinement. They want to rise without being stretched. But the truth is, everything great is born in discomfort. Diamonds are made under pressure. Muscles are built through resistance. Gold is purified in fire. Why should I expect anything different in my own life? If I want to be unbreakable, I must first be willing to be tested. If I want to carry more, I must first become more. And pain is the process that makes that possible. It is the proving ground of endurance, the training ground of greatness. I've learned not to resent the pain, but to respect it. It shows me what I still need to confront, what I still need to develop, what I'm truly capable of. Every scar I carry is not a sign of weakness, but of survival. Every hardship I've faced has planted something in me: courage, resilience, focus, hunger. Pain has carved out the parts of me that were fragile and replaced them with fire. It has reminded me that I can be knocked down and still rise, that I can be wounded and still walk forward, that I can feel broken and still finish strong. So no, I don't seek pain, but I don't fear it either. I welcome what it brings because I know what's waiting on the other side: wisdom, power, depth, and unshakable grit. Pain is not the end of the road. It's the pathway to purpose. And I will keep walking it. I will not quit. Nothing grows without resistance. Every living thing that reaches upward first had to fight downward, roots pushing against the soil, stretching through the dark, unseen pressure just to survive. That's how strength is formed. That's how resilience is shaped. Resistance is not a barrier to growth. It's the very environment where growth is made possible. When I face resistance, I don't see it as a sign that I'm off track. I see it as confirmation that I'm in the process of becoming. The presence of pressure tells me I'm moving. It tells me I'm reaching past what I've been into what I could be. There is no progress without pressure. No development without demand. If I only move when it's easy, I'll never go far. If I only persist when I'm comfortable, I'll never know my true capacity. Growth requires discomfort. It requires a willingness to be stretched, to be challenged, to be taken beyond my limits. And every time I feel the pull of resistance, I remind myself that this is not the end. This is the gym of the soul. This is where the inner muscles are torn just enough to rebuild stronger, deeper, and more determined than before. Just like the strongest trees grow roots that dig deep into rocky ground, I must dig into the hard places of life. I must face the challenges that don't move easily, the goals that don't come quickly, the dreams that don't yield without a fight. That resistance isn't rejection. It's refinement. It's the fire that purifies. It's the weight that builds endurance. It's the grind that forms greatness. And the more resistance I face, the more I realize I'm being trusted with something bigger. Growth demands resistance because greatness demands strength. So when resistance comes, I don't run. I rise. I don't shrink, I stretch. I lean into it. I thank it. I use it. Because I know that every ounce of resistance I overcome adds another layer to the foundation I'm building. A foundation that will not crack, a future that will not fall, and for that reason I welcome resistance. I expect it, I train for it, I grow through it, and above all, I never quit. Victory is not always loud. It doesn't always come with a trophy, a spotlight, or a round of applause. Sometimes victory is quiet. It's the whisper of a decision made in the dark. It's the silent, personal triumph that happens when no one is watching, when no one else sees the weight you carry. Real victory is not just found in crossing the finish line. It's found in every moment you refuse to stop, when everything in you screamed to give up. It's not just about winning at the end, it's about winning every small battle along the way, the ones that test your will, your endurance, your commitment. The world measures success by outcomes, but I've learned to measure it by effort. The refusal to quit, even when the results aren't visible, is the highest form of discipline. To keep going when there's no recognition, no validation, and no evidence of progress, that is where true champions are born. Anyone can keep going when everything is going their way, but it takes uncommon resolve to persist in silence, to press forward when no one is cheering. That's where real power lies. In the moments of resistance, in the daily grind, in the stubborn refusal to be moved. I have come to understand that my greatest strength is not in my talent, not in my knowledge, not even in my performance, but in my refusal to quit. That refusal is my edge. It is my identity. It is what separates me from those who almost made it, from those who nearly got there but didn't. I am not defined by how easy the journey was. I am defined by how relentlessly I walked it, no matter the cost. Because every time I refused to give in, I was building momentum. I was stacking internal victories. I was becoming the kind of person who finishes. So, no matter what comes against me, I carry this one truth like a sword. I will not be stopped by fatigue, by fear, or by failure. The victory is not just at the end of the road. The victory is in every step I take that says, I'm still here, I'm still moving, I still believe. And that kind of person, one who refuses to quit, can never truly be defeated. Legacy isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows, when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when the journey feels like it's going nowhere. The world sees the results, but it rarely sees the hours, the effort, the unseen sacrifices. The early mornings when you rise even though you're tired, the long nights when you keep going even though you're drained. That's where legacy is formed. It's not formed when things are easy. It's shaped in the silence, in the obscurity, in the places where most people quit because they think no progress is being made. But I know better. I know that everything I do in the dark is setting the stage for what will one day shine in the light. The difference between those who leave a mark and those who disappear into mediocrity is not opportunity, it's consistency. It's the ability to do the right thing over and over again, without applause, without recognition, and without needing anyone else to believe in it. Because legacy is not about what others say about you. It's about the standard you set when no one is there to hold you accountable. It's about who you choose to be when you're alone with your purpose. And that kind of integrity, that kind of persistence only develops in the dark. Most people fear the dark seasons of life. They run from them. They call them wasted time. But I've come to understand that the dark is where the roots grow. It's where I'm strengthened, where I'm tested, where I'm prepared. The dark doesn't mean I'm lost. It means I'm being formed. It means I'm laying a foundation that won't crack when the pressure of success comes. Because success can expose what hasn't been built. But legacy, true legacy, stands firm because it was shaped by discipline, not applause, by decisions, not distractions, by purpose, not popularity. So I embrace the dark. I work when no one sees. I keep my word when no one is around. I train, I grind, I endure. Not because the world is watching, but because the vision is worth it. Because the legacy I leave behind will speak not just of what I achieved, but of who I chose to be in the moments when it was hardest to continue. That's the kind of legacy that lasts. That's why I will not quit. Champions are not born with something the rest of us lack. They don't possess a secret gift or an unshakable path of ease. What sets them apart is not talent, it's choice. Every day, they choose discipline over distraction, growth over comfort, and purpose over pleasure. Champions are made in the quiet, persistent decisions that others overlook. They make the choice to keep moving when the emotion fades. They make the choice to rise again after failure. They make the choice to believe when logic says doubt. And the truth is, I have that same power. I don't have to wait to feel like a champion to act like one. It begins the moment I choose to think differently, move differently, and refuse to quit. It's easy to point to circumstances as the reason someone rises or falls. But champions are not defined by what happens to them. They are defined by how they respond. Every setback becomes a setup when I choose to learn instead of blame. Every delay becomes a lesson when I choose patience over panic. Life will never be without struggle, but that's where champions are formed. Not in ideal conditions, but in fire. The pressure doesn't destroy them. It refines them. The opposition doesn't stop them. It sharpens them. Because they've decided that their outcome will not be dictated by chance, but by choice. I can choose to stop, to shrink back, to settle, or I can choose to rise, to press on, to commit. That choice doesn't require perfect conditions. It requires a made-up mind. Champions understand that power isn't something they wait for. It's something they take hold of by deciding who they will be, no matter what. And with every choice made in the direction of excellence, they separate themselves. They build a life that can't be shaken because it's rooted in decisions, not desires, in clarity, not confusion, in unwavering commitment, not fleeting emotion. So today, I make that same decision. I choose to keep going. I choose to fight for what matters. I choose to become the person who doesn't quit, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Champions are made by choice, and I've made mine. I've walked through storms I never asked for, faced battles I didn't see coming, felt the weight of dreams that seemed too far to reach, but through it all, one truth has risen stronger than every obstacle: I will not quit. No matter how many times I've stumbled, no matter how many moments of doubt tried to claim me, I always found something deeper within me, a resolve that refuses to die. That's not because I've never been afraid. It's because I've chosen not to let fear decide for me. I've chosen not to let pain have the final word. I've chosen to keep standing, keep striving, and keep rising. I will not quit because I know what's at stake. I've seen what happens to people who give up too soon. They spend their lives wondering what could have been. I refuse to be one of them. I refuse to live with the weight of untapped potential or a legacy unfinished. The vision I carry is too important, the people I'm called to impact are too valuable, and the future I'm building is too meaningful. Every time I push past what feels like the end, I'm proving that my destiny is stronger than my difficulty, that my purpose is greater than my pressure. There will be days when the burden feels heavy, days when the path ahead is unclear, but quitting will never be an option because I wasn't made to shrink. I wasn't created to retreat. I was born to overcome. I was built for perseverance. What lies ahead of me is worth everything it takes to get there, and I trust that every step, every scar, every sacrifice is shaping me into the person I was always meant to be. The breakthrough I seek may not come quickly, but it will come, and when it does, it will find me still walking, still climbing, still believing. So let it be known, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times I have to start over, I will not quit. I will press on with fire in my soul and purpose in my steps, because that's what I was made for, and because everything I'm becoming depends on it.